Hi, this is Trent, also known as Trent the Human, hence Archibald.
And Greg here, aka Sunny Jim.
And we are talking about Torchy the Battery Boy, Episode 1.
Yes, hopefully the only episode.
This episode. There we go. Right to the face.
Bonk.
I hit myself in the head so many times doing that, as it's literally me throwing it at my puppet hand with my free hand.
Meanwhile, I just hit myself in the head for the fun.
Yeah. The
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, we chose this. This was not originally part of our. Our riffs are kind of a little bit of catch as catch can. We have some that we eyeball, but this one just popped up out of nowhere and became an instant, oh my god, we've got to hit this now.
Yeah, I had been looking for stuff for a friend of mine to use for in terms of public domain footage, and I had found this. And as soon as I got it, I sent Greg a text and I said, "We are riffing this thing. It doesn't matter what you say. We're doing this."
And I quickly watched it, and there was no way we were not going to. Cause
People need to know about this stuff. It's important. Now,
yeah.
and this is why. Now, in terms of what we're doing with the sketch stuff, this is one of our more elaborate shoots so far. I think it represents sort of a big improvement in our overall production. Better camera quality, better direction, better, more camera angles than just the one.
More complicated. I mean, we pushed things with the previous one, with the outdoor shoots and having Jim playing with Hoshi in the hallway, but we tend to approach we really push ourselves on this thing, and it's not even a conscious we need to push ourselves. It's just, let's just do this thing. Oh shit, we got to do a lot of. I mean, our first big thing, what we really consider the start of the project, was that 4-person in hotel room crossover with Vangelis and Derek Wyatt for the Transformers bot episode.
Learning
An episode we hate.
experience.
Yes, it's definitely learning to swim by throwing yourself in the deep end of the pool heads first. But yeah, I mean, I think it turned out really well.
Yeah. Starchbald, I really need to make a new one. I want him to be able to do more stuff than he does right now.
This would be what, version 3?
Yeah, version 3. If you look carefully,
Meanwhile,
you can spot version 1 in this video.
Meanwhile, you nailed Jim first go. I was really impressed with how he came out.
It helped that I made Schnapps the booze monster first. He shows up. He has only shown up in like one YouTube video so far, but I intend to use him for some other things.
But this, by the way, this little bit where it proves that they can't deal without the internet, this is pretty autobiographical. I mean, not exactly, but between Tumblr and the fact that we got most of our big work over the last several years, I mean, hell, for the last 10 years, most of my big work, what I would call career stuff, is based on the internet.
Yeah, I'm pretty well tied down to it. Cracked.com.
Yeah, Tumblr, and if it's not that, it's me dicking around on the Transformers wiki.
Oh, and it begins.
Yes, Torchy. Good old British English.
Yep.
How do we approach commenting on this without just breaking into sobs?
Well, let's start with a little background on this show.
Alrighty.
No one on this side of the pond is going to know about this show, but this is a Gary Anderson show.
I'm pretty sure most people in Britain who are
Yeah.
still alive probably won't recognize this either.
Right. This is by the guy who did Thunderbirds. He did the marionette work on this. And this is his second show. And despite the fact that this looks like something that would have been and gone in seconds, it's ran for 52 episodes, apparently.
I can only assume that's thanks to the BBC.
Well, it's true. But, oh,
The scary, scary puppet. Now, granted, Bumbledrop himself I actually kind of like that design. Just fix the walleye.
yeah.
But, I mean, I like how the mouth is hidden with the beard, and it's got a slightly different movement to it. It's actually a pretty well constructed puppet. I'm happy
Well,
with
this
it.
marionette action really works for a crinkled old man. It's just the kids
Yeah.
that also are hunchbacked freaks.
Oh, wow. I only just noticed Pom Pom does not blink her eyes don't blink at the same time. That was a disconcerting wiggle blink. And why does she fall in the pond? What's with the pond? What's with the straight hair? I think we're starting to get into the problems of this short already.
It's a lot of whimsy, is what it is.
Pointless whimsy.
The ideas don't really tie together. There isn't really any continuity to them. It's sort of like Yo Gabba Gabba if no one cared. Where
Without the benefit of Bismarcky.
right, I mean you've got basically a setup where stuff happens, and it happens because it happens.
And that can be funny, but I don't think that this is really so much intended to be funny as meant to be adorable. And it doesn't work.
I can only imagine that this is aimed at very young kids, or it was manufactured under the sort of belief that children don't really care. They're not that bright. They'll accept anything that you flash at them.
Yeah, not even really and just given the time, probably not maliciously. People just genuinely didn't think that kids would, think that hard about any of this stuff. And kids really are smarter than that. I'm sorry. I mean,
Oh yeah.
they can.
Oh, it's Bossy Boots. Yeah.
Yeah, the mean nickname that the kids give her, that Bumbledrop also calls her by. The nice old man calls her Bossy Boots. Did he just not bother to learn her real name? There are a couple moments in this where we bust out laughing, and that's genuine. Her little petulant, I haven't got one, just tickles.
The children are so aggressively British.
And aggressively awful. And yeah, this is about the point where we started having problems, just because with riffing, and honestly, I've been doing riff projects for about a decade now, and one of the big problems is you gotta get your jokes in quick. You gotta get them punchy, and you gotta make sure you don't cover the setup for the next joke.
Right.
And, we kept wanting to put in a little Hitler baby reference in here, but there just never was quite the room. Because holy crap, does that kid look like Hitler.
Yeah.
Like Hitler and Alfalfa had a baby.
Which, this was made in, I think the late 50s. That might have been intentional for one of the villain kids.
True enough. Yeah, and, here, more evidence that this is either for really little kids, or just the fact that Bumbledrop tells us what has happened after we were told what they intended to do and after we're shown what they're doing. I think the point has been made aggressively clear that they've tied the toys to the kites. Why Bumbledrop cares, I don't know.
And here comes the amazing magical wind from nowhere.
That can lift a dog.
What it kind of reminds me of is a lot of old fairy tales. It has that kind of logic of a great wind came and everything was swept away into another land. Oh.
I'm sorry, that gets me every time. He's just dead, expressionless.
Oh.
My dog is flying away. I was hurting for a while. We kept trying to riff and just laughing too hard at his dead-eyed look there. It was just too beautiful.
We finally just decided to just have us laugh when it happened, because it was the most honest. It was the most honest joke we could do.
And here we find out he's so sad because there won't be little kids in his yard, despite the fact that it's pretty clear that the kids are not really that nice.
relentlessly awful is how I would kind of put it.
Yeah. I kind of feel a little bad about the number of filthy old man jokes we made, because it was a different time. Not to say that they didn't happen, but, it was just a different time.
More of an innocent approach to it, but
Yeah.
but one thing that I did that we didn't wind up putting in the actual riff, but we wound up getting in the credits, was I wanted to have a sort of self-deprecating reference where Starchibald would go, "Oh, so now we know what kind of sick weirdo makes puppets," and
And now we're hitting the point where this show really starts shitting itself. And the depth of not giving a damn. Truly, I mean, all it takes is a flashlight battery to bring a toy to intelligent self-awareness.
now it would be one thing if
And
they
in
had
4
established
hours.
that Bumbledrop was the old toy maker, and you could sort
Yeah.
of see him as being this sort of magically wizened, old wizard type.
He's been making toys for 6 billion years, and so, you could accept the idea that he could make a toy that can do that and run off a flashlight battery. Fine. All you need is one line, he says as he goes into Shatner mode.
Oh,
But it,
and here comes
Oh,
here comes the screaming.
yeah, we need to work on getting high volume screaming done.
Yeah.
Because that too was a pretty legitimate reaction to Torchy here, who is, oh, and here comes the commercial break.
Yeah.
And now we're back from the commercial break. And this mid-bit, this is probably the shortest. We're probably not going to do another mid-bit for this short, but this was mostly just a technical test more than anything else.
Yeah, getting me and Starchibald in the same place interacting.
Although,
I love this joke. This thing, can't reach.
if there's one thing you'll kind of notice, Starch is a little pathetic.
Oh yeah, it's
Now this sketch was really all you, because I gotta be honest, I was never exposed to the whole paranoid parent groups thing. I mean, I grew up on Sesame Street and Henson, and let me put it this way, I grew up with hippie parents.
Yeah.
Not like stoner hippie parents, but definitely. Let me put it this way: the two albums that got the most play around my house when I was in single-digit age was The Best of Queen and Meatloaf's Bat Out of Hell.
see, I grew up Bible Belt, crazy religious family type thing, and so the idea that you could learn magic from fiction kind of came up a lot.
Pop.
And I just think that that's worth making fun of. The idea that there are wizards in the world, and their major school is children's television.
Yeah. Yeah, you may have noticed that was not a Super Mario card that Jim was playing with. I don't have any Mario cards. Sorry. But, Torchy. I am firmly of the opinion that, I realize he's supposed to look more, I am firmly of the opinion that all you need to do is change his eyebrows and he will look at least 50% less like a demon from hell.
Mm-hmm. Now, we just passed it, but there was a joke there that, again, it got cut for time. When Torchy declares that his name should be 1, 2, 3, 4, and Bumbledrop's response is, "That's not a name, that's a number." I wanted to have the line of, "Names are for people, numbers are for victims."
Just no time, and
Yeah.
there was also no time to comment. Like I said, it's just another sign of not giving a damn, because that's not a joke. It might be more approaching a joke if he decided to name him something that he saw on the table, like a ham sandwich or something. That might actually be kind of funny, but this is just... it's just... And yeah,
in a first,
the arbitrariness.
In a first for things that I have seen, the narrator has just described the Foley to the children. The sound effect that they can hear of the flashlight coming on has been described to them.
I have a feeling this may have been an adaptation. I don't know, but yeah, the glasses. Here again. Something just happens because it needs to be thrown in there and whimsical. The glasses he never wears are inside a grandfather clock for some damn reason, and his beam is magical and has X-ray vision for some damn reason, and he has this song prepared for fuck if I know.
It really feels like we're missing a blue fairy. Like, there should
Yeah.
have been some kind of magical thing coming in to establish why all this is happening and why Bumbledrop has no idea what the capabilities of his own invention are.
Yeah, I mean, I could deal with it if we had a blue fairy, because as the internet famous people say, it's magic, bitch.
Right. A wizard did it.
Yeah.
Maybe Bumbledrop's a wizard, but they haven't told us anything about that.
Yeah. I do want to apologize for the call me maybe joke. It's
It seems to work.
the kids like it or something. I don't know. Ah. Now, Bumbledrop. Let's talk about Bumbledrop again, and something that we didn't really get to touch on in this again. He is one of the most defeatist sons of bitches I've ever seen in any kid's entertainment, who is not a villain.
For a man who has just made the laws of nature sit up and beg, everything he does is, oh, I don't think it's magical enough. Oh, I don't know if Torchy's going to work. Oh, I wonder if the rocket ship is going to work. And at a certain point, a little bit of hubris is earned. I mean, it's like, I have created life. I have built
Bow down before me!
I made a functional rocket ship in 24 hours. If the British government does not cave to my demands, I will unleash unholy singing hell upon all mankind.
He can make a... He's too old to go outside and look for Pom-Pom and the toys. Now, okay, granted, they're on a star, but how could he know that? But he's too old to go look for Pom-Pom and the toys. Not old enough to apparently build a 2-story functional rocket entirely by himself.
Well, yeah.
Hey, that's what the dialogue, that's what the narration says. He built it himself. It doesn't say anything about Torchy helping him. Torchy, that ungrateful little bastard.
Why don't you make me a rocket ship? Why don't you jump up my ass, kid? It's like...
Like I said, just one line establishing that Bumbledrop used to make toys. Like, a grand, amazing toys. Just call him the great toy maker. That's all you need.
It took him 4 hours to create artificial intelligent life, but all day to build
And he just happened, just the rocket.
Well, I suppose that makes
And that one voodoo sound effect you hear in about everything involving a rocket from the 50s. I swear I've heard this in at least a dozen Mystery Science Theater movies. Apparently voodoo is futuristic. I swear the whole grinders gag came... Actually, that was inspired from an old Mitchell and Webb sketch involving Pinocchio on the radio show. That's where the whole grinder thing came from. Oh, Mitchell and Webb.
And... Oh god, I've been burned alive! I love the horror sting, which is used for the launching of the rocket. Dong!
And this is where this is where it ends. I don't think...
If this had been a review...
There are no more episodes on Archive.
No.
I'm not sure I'd want to do anymore just because this really horrified me, even if there were.
Plus, it just works better in a vacuum. It's sort of this nonsensical little treasure on its own.
We can't find a lot of early Doctor Who, but we can get this.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the BBC burns up episodes of Doctor Who like there's no tomorrow, but archives this thing. But...
It's a screenplay by Roberta Lee. I honestly think that this used to be a storybook that she just kind of turned into this.
It could be.
I mean, that's just my thought.
Now, if they...
I don't feel like doing the research to find out.
If this had been a review instead of a riff, there's a lot of stuff we would have focused on for longer.
Yeah.
The slowness of the rocket and Starch's association of that with special relativity would have been a sketch. It's...
Oh, God, yeah, we, Didn't want to touch that joke in an actual riff. Little too sick for Jim or Starch.
Someone have hijacked this Pelham instead.
Trent the Human would have totally gone there.
Yeah,
It falls into
I totally went there.
it would fall into the category of things humans do.
This turned out nice. The sound effects. I mean, I mean, that's me. Warbling is Torchy. I can't do it right now. I had to scrape my throat up pretty good for that. But just the vocal effects and... Yeah, we would have gone a lot longer on how Torchy was a demon if this was a review.
Yeah, the first
And
draft...
that song is such an earworm. It was stuck in my head for days, and I was so angry.
Yeah, the first draft of the riff was pretty much back-to-back Satanism jokes. But it wasn't well enough established that Torchy was a demon, so we couldn't really go with it.
And this little bit, which I introduced you to.
Yes, thank you for
welcome.
that.
This is one of if you've watched the early videos, you notice there's a lot less echo with Jim because I was doing this through the headphones this time, which really helped because, especially in the head banging one here, his mouth was just going clop, 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 clop.
Yeah,
And I was sweating BBs there because, there's like 4 or 5 lights on, and I'm basically wearing a fur sleeve. There's at least one cut of him, the head just flapping off because I lost my grip.
it's true for both of us, and there we go. Fun fact, that sound effect is wind and a slowed down crocodile growl for the demon smoke.
Eat your heart out, ILM. Oh dear. Yeah, this is a threat and a promise at the same time.
Yeah, and this is something. As soon as I did the Trent disappearing gag, I wanted to have him wandering through in the void during the credits.
Yeah. Actually, to go back to Pinocchio 3000, which is a thing, and yes, that's another reason why Torchy suddenly became, oh my god, let's do this now.
Because it really
just
fits.
Seemed like just the perfect lead-in. Because Torchy, if you thought Torchy was something, then Pinocchio was definitely,
God,
you ain't seen nothing yet.
I need a haircut so bad.
Yes, you do, says the guy with hair down to his ass. I love that little shrug.
I didn't have time in editing, but I wanted to have the text actually shake every time he punched the screen.
What are we gonna keep doing to you, or to Trent the Human, as time goes on?
Oh, he's sort of the established butt monkey of this universe.
Sorry!
Gets you every
funny.
time.
It does. It's just such a beautiful
Roll
expression.
a little bit longer, just because I can stick some video after this.
Yeah, it's we wanted a longer stinger gag, and we'll probably put out a short video using that, just because.
Yeah, it's the one of the reasons that we wound up doing the extra sketch stuff in this one is I just wanted to have more interaction between Trent and Starch, because I like the hostile roommate situation and what the story behind it, which we'll be revealing in little sections. Why he has this little creature living with him, and why he's not happy about it.
We're going to be seeing a little bit of that with Jim too, but it's going to be a very different relationship between those two.
Right. Because Starch is basically unemployable, and and is essentially, I think in a couple of things, in some scripts I have Trent referring to him as a freeloading salamander, and things like that. Never really nailing down what Starch is. It'll be a different lizardy thing every time he yells it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's
a lot of that, and just a lot of we've been really improving. I like to think we've been improving on a technical level since. I mean, just again, learning the hard way, tweaking everything, better video, better lighting, better And also, I mean, there are a lot of people out there doing riffs. I mean, Riff Tracks and Cinematic Titanic notwithstanding. I mean, those are the big boys, but you've got a lot of fan riffs out there. But it really does seem to be just on the level of audio commentaries like, well, this.
Right. Whereas I like doing the sketch work. I like doing the. I got a wild hair a couple of years ago, well, a year and a half ago, and just started making puppets.
Yeah.
Never done it before, hadn't really even sewn before, and I just kind of went nuts with it. And that's what this kind of grew out of.
Yeah, and we were both looking for a creative outlet with stuff that was pretty much our own, rather than some licensed thing that we couldn't.
That we wouldn't have direct control over, and that, we...
And, we still going to do the occasional reviews and all that, but that well is, you've got a lot of good people doing reviews.
Oh, yeah.
And while I think we do bring something a little different to the table, I think the riffs people really seem to like. We've gotten good responses out of that, so...
Of course, if you disagree with us, stop by isleofrangoon.com and leave us some angry comments or encouragement or just whatever the internet equivalent of a dead skunk in a burlap sack is. And
that's called a YouTube comment thread.
Well, yeah.
Gee, do you think we have something against YouTube comment threads?
I don't know. It's like I've seen any place where a simple thread about toothbrushes can become somehow involve Holocaust denial. I think there's a problem, and that's YouTube in a nutshell. A lot of viewers, but the worst comments ever.
We've now run about 5 minutes past the runtime.
All right, well, I'll throw some visual bloopers in the back or something, some pattern of dancing lights or,
Yeah, something to mesmerize and make people forget that this ever happened.
I wonder if I can find some footage of a chupacabra. Anyway.
Thanks for
watching. And we will have more stuff coming up soon.
And beware Pinocchio.
Beware Pinocchio. Peace.